John, I did want to get your reaction to Giovanni Manu, the tackle/guard that they drafted in the 4th round. This felt abnormal that they would have a 6'8" interior offensive lineman, but he said that they are talking about him as a right guard as of right now.
So the transition is going to be, he's been in a left-handed stance for the last couple of years. I know in 22, apparently he started some games at guard before they bumped him out to tackle. So he's got an idea of what's it like in the inside. But again, he was playing against high schoolers. The transition first is going to be, because ultimately what do we think is going to happen is Penei Sewell moves over to left tackle. And if Manu is able to make the transition and become an effective pro, he's going to be the right tackle. Ideally, that's where you have it because you need that length at tackle. You don't need it as much at the guard position. It doesn't mean that it can't happen. 6'8" would be the biggest guard that I've ever heard of. But if he is the freak athlete that everybody talks about and he's got great knee bend, then he can get low. You can play with good pad level at 6'8". It's not harder. That much. Well, yeah, but it's not that much different than being 6'6". Like you're talking about a very smaller margin because there are guards in the NFL right now that are 6'6" that are very effective.
Right, but the type of bodies that you're going up against, typically edge guys are 6'3", 6'4". They're taller, longer human beings. A lot of the defensive interior guys are stumpy. You got to dig them out. You got to get underneath, and leverage becomes, it's always important. But to me, that's why I don't think we see a lot of guys who are 6'7" or 6'8" playing on the inside.
Correct. It is hard to play with good leverage, good pad level when you're playing against somebody who's 6 foot, 6'1", and you're 6'8". It's just, that's human nature.
So is this a transition guard with the option to play tackle?
I think it's guard to see if he's able to make the transition from left-hand stance to right-hand stance.
One thing at a time, yeah.
Yeah, and then it's, okay, we're comfortable with you at guard because there's less risk at guard too. I know the path to the quarterback is a lot shorter, but you have side rail, you have guardrails. You got,
it's like bumpers when you're bowling.
Right, yeah, and with long arms, when you're talking about an offense, yes, I know that they run the ball and it's a large part of their offense, but when you're talking about protected Jared Goff, you can never underestimate the reach at any position. Centers, guards, tackles. It's always better to have long arms, and if he's got a punch, like that can be very effective at the guard position. Now, you're not going to play this game in a vacuum. You've got to be able to do both, and I think the transition is let's get him comfortable at guard, and then let's bump him out to tackle and see if he can handle that.
You didn't love, not that it can't be corrected, him as a puller, though. And I feel like as a guard in a gap scheme.
Right. But that was more, I just don't think he's ever been taught that technique.
Coach him up.
And again, I go back to the reports that we're getting is that he is a freak athlete. And it's not just straight line speed, right? 350, you're running 4.950. Like that's impressive in and of itself. But if you're a freak athlete, then you are able to bend your knees. You are able to do things on the run and be coached up. There are certain guys that, hey, their wiring is just certain where you teach them something, you show them something on film, and they're like, okay, I can do that. And they just go out and do it. It's one of the things that will really piss you off about great athletes because they just go out there and they can do anything.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.